name is Sherry Abiam. I will be your MC this afternoon. I'm associated with the American Association of University Women. We are one of 3 sponsors for this forum. The other 2 sponsors that I'd like to thank are the Little Lake Grange and the Mendocino Women's Political Coalition, also known as MWPC. I would like to start by saying some thank yous because there were a lot of people that participated in putting this together. And this is in no particular order. I'd like to thank Mike Burgess from KLLG Radio. I'd like to thank Terrence Vaughn. He's from Mendocino TV. He is video recording this. The video can be seen at www.mendocinotv.com. Also video recording this is our Andy Wright and Al Rosen. Their recording can be seen on Public Access TV, Channel 3 on Comcast, or you can go to YouTube or Vimeo and type in Willits Community Television in order to bring the video up. I'd like to thank Dave Knutson, who is doing the sound for our forum. A big thank you to Jeremy Whitaker for setting up this room. A lot of sweat involved in doing that. Taking questions from the audience. Ann McGlinty, and we'll be doing that if you have cards that you picked up from the audience. And Emmy Good? Okay. And here, organizing the questions at this table, to my right, to your left, are Carlin Diamond and Judy Burtis. Our timer is Carol Orton. And so with that, let's begin. We have 3 panels this afternoon. The first panel will run from 2 to 2:30, second from 2:30 to 3, and the third panel from 3 to 5. The third panel being our 3rd District Supervisors. For the clerk recorder, we will ask the candidates to make a 2-minute opening statement. For the purpose of fairness, the candidates will be asked questions on a pre-selected random basis. For the opening statements, we can just go in the order that you're seated. So you have 2 minutes. When you have 15 seconds, Carol will hold up her sign letting you know. Our first candidate is Katrina Bartolome. So we welcome to your statement.
Hello. I'd like to welcome you all and thank you all for coming out this afternoon. My name's Katrina Bartolome, and I'm running for Assessor County Clerk Recorder in the June 5th primary election. I was born and raised in Ukiah. My family and my roots are here. I'm here to stay. I decided to run when our department head announced that she was not going to seek another term. Being the second in charge, I run two of the 3 major departments within our office. There are many changes I would like to see happen. I have experience in running and administering the clerk recorder's office and the assistant registrar of voters office. I'm sorry. Becoming the assessor clerk recorder is the next natural step in my career. I have been preparing for this position my entire career. Integrity, neutrality, transparency, and honesty is what I believe in and what I insist on in my departments every day. I began my county career in 2004 when I was hired as an exemptions clerk in the assessor's office. Within 6 months, I was promoted to supervisor of the clerical division in the assessor's office. I was promoted to the assistant registrar of voter in 2006, and in 2009, I assumed the assistant clerk recorder's duties. I am currently the assistant clerk recorder, assistant registrar of voters. I work with our special districts, municipalities, the Secretary of State's office, and our candidates, helping them with their election candidate paperwork and questions. I know how to deal with the public and the media in critical times. I know how to listen. We have to go by the letter of the law. A huge part of my job is making sure we are in compliance with all of our laws and regulations. I am being endorsed. I'll tell you later.
Thank you very much. Our next candidate is Dirk Larson.
Hi, thanks for everybody coming today. My name is Dirk Larson, candidate for Assessor Clerk Recorder. I grew up on the coast and attended college out of the area. In 1993, I came back to Mendocino County to call home and was hired by the county as a real property appraiser. I currently live in Ukiah with my wife, Melissa. We have 3 kids, Olivia, Ava, and Jacob. In my over 24 years with the department, I've spent nearly 20 of those years in a top-tier position as a real property appraiser. I have advanced state certification in assessment standards, and my responsibilities include all property types. I work with residential, commercial, farm, ranch, timber, and I have extensive working knowledge with the Williamson Act, a program that helps maintain and preserve our open space and ag lands countywide. This department has a large responsibility, provides multiple services to the public. Elections seem to be first and foremost on everybody's minds lately, and the concern about getting the votes out. Having observed and participated in the last several years now, I have some clear plans on how to improve efficiency while preserving the integrity of the vote. It is the assessor's function that requires a leader of the department. With my experience and background, though, the function of this department cannot be overstated. It generates much of the revenue that funds our schools, provides our services and infrastructure. Past management in the department has been adequate, but I recognize the areas that need improvement, and I'm familiar with our changing county economics and transitioning property uses. Property taxes aren't fun, and I think we can all agree on that. And I want people to appreciate their contribution to our county's health and success.
Thank you. And our third candidate is Jeanette Kropman.
My name's Jeanette Kropman. I'm running for Mendocino County Assessor's Office. I have worked in the Mendocino County Assessor's Office now going on 29 years. I am a native of Mendocino County. I was born in Ukiah, and I grew up in the Ukiah Valley. I've been married for 25 years. I have 5 beautiful daughters and 16 amazing grandchildren. I remained in Ukiah until 1997, until my husband and I purchased a piece of property here in Willits, where we built our home and we raised our daughters. I've been an owner of a small business since 1994. I have processed and maintained all accounting records, drawn up and negotiated contracts, and balanced the budget. In addition to owning a business, we have several rental properties which I manage, maintain, and process all accounting records. I was hired by Dwayne Wells in 1989 as an entry-level clerk, and since then I have held numerous positions within the department, including Proposition 13, change in ownership clerk, property tax exclusions clerk, property tax exemptions clerk, real property clerical staff supervisor, to mention a few. I am currently a real property appraiser too, and I hold and maintain a valid California Advanced Appraisal Certificate with the State Board of Equalization. As well as for the past 15 years, I have worked for the Elections Department in various capacities, including inspector. Thank you.
Thank you. So, as you pass your questions to Judy and Carlin, they will be bundling them, and so your question may not be heard exactly verbatim as you wrote it, but the issue or the topic will be. So the first question, and we will start with Jeanette, and second will be Katrina, and third Dirk. The first question, what records does the Assessor Clerk Recorder maintain? Are all records open to the public? And if not, which ones are not? I'm sorry. You have 1 minute to respond to these questions.
Okay,
Sorry.
well, there is
Thank
a
you.
numerous amount of records that are maintained by the recorder's office. Every record that is recorded, any legal document, deed, trust, mechanics lien, there's so many, tax default notices, tax rescission notices, when you pay off your loan and you get your, can't think of the name of the document off the top of my head, but anyway, there's a multitude of documents, birth certificates, obviously marriage licenses. Those are the few that come to the forefront of my mind. As far as I am aware, all documents that are recorded are available and viewable by the public. Thank you.
Hi. The recorder's office records everything from your birth in Mendocino County to your death in Mendocino County and just about everything in between. So we have vital records, which are birth, marriage, and death records. Those are not public record. Those are, you have to be, some criteria to get those, to get copies of those. Then we have public records such as your deeds, deeds of trust, and every legal document pertaining to your parcel of land. The registrar of voters, we maintain your voting history. The only thing that's public record with that is your name and your party affiliation. Nothing else is recorded. In the deeds, in the property records, there are certain things within your record that are public, and there are certain things within your record that are not public record.
Thank you.
So I don't think it's necessary to go back through the documents that we're allowed to record, but what I think is important, and part of our function, is to provide a service to the public and make sure that we're securely storing all these public documents that are viewed by the public. But I think what we need to improve on is the micrographics program. We need to kind of improve on the access and the ability for the public to come in and receive or obtain the documents that they're after. As Katrina said, there are documents that aren't public record, and that's pretty clear, but I think that's the important function for folks to understand. Again, I don't think it's necessary for me to list all the documents again, but that is an important function. We are there to store and provide these documents for the public.
Thank you. I failed to thank really the most important people here, which is all of you, for coming. It's a beautiful afternoon, and the sun is just delicious. So we all really appreciate that you're so concerned and care about what's going on in our county to come to this. So our second question, and the order in which it will be answered, we will start with Dirk, followed by Jeanette, and lastly, Katrina.
Just mail-in voting and computerized security.
The second question, what measures do you take to assure the reliability and security of our voting machines?
Well,
Is there a paper backup trail? Please address the issue of mail-in voting. And if you could
okay,
include
I'll try
that.
to squeeze it all in. You know, our county is largely a mail-in, voting currently, and I think that as a state, we're kind of moving in that direction. And I think the more people you talk to, there is a convenience, but there's also that faction of our county that prefers to go to a polling place and vote. I think it's important to maintain a paper trail. There's a suggestion of digitalizing everything, making everything electronic. I think there's too much room for error, and I think with paper ballots, you're more, there's a better way of kind of following and kind of confirming and checking how someone voted. I think it could be as simple as if you had touchscreens and stuff, whether they inadvertently touch the wrong button or not touch it right, did their vote get counted properly? So, and she's holding the sign up, so. Smile, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so yes, we do have some voting tabulation machines. They are not used very often. They are required by the state and federal government for state and federal elections. They are a touchscreen with an SD type card that goes into the monitor. It has a backup tape that's similar to a cash register tape or a clerical add-in machine tape. These machines are independent and are not hooked up to the internet. I believe these machines are safe and secure. Unfortunately, few voters choose to use these machines due to lack of knowledge, not only how they work, but even how to vote on them in general. Thank you.
So the reliability and the security of the voting equipment is at the utmost importance. When we program our machines and our memory cards, there is no internet access in that secure room. The paper backup is law in California, so there has to be some sort of paper backup that the voter can actually go to and check and make sure that what they voted is what they intended to vote. The paper ballots are just that. Mendocino County, even though it is state law, Mendocino County people like their paper ballots. We like to provide those paper ballots. The mail voting is very secure, and we have great processes. We have, when we process those as they come back in, we're allowed to open them 10 business days prior to election, and that's when we start processing, and that's when we start opening them. Before that, we've checked their signatures and put them in precinct order. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question. What would you do to declare the final election results in a more timely manner, and how can we be assured that all the absentee ballots have been included in the final count? In the order of response will be Katrina, Jeanette, and Dirk.
To declare, I'm currently looking at some equipment that will help. Everything we do has to be by state law. We have to follow procedures and get that. We have some equipment that I'm looking at that will help eliminate one of the processes that we do manually that we can do on this computer screen that will be attached to our tabulation system. So that will help get the result out better. It will help us update our results within, from the election night final report until we certify. We have 8 people working now, and I think we have a pretty efficient crew this time. Most of our extra help people have been working with us for several years, and I really think that this piece of equipment and the teamwork that we have will help get everything out a whole lot quicker. Thank you.
Thank you.
Am I
Jeanette?
next? Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, as far as the speeding up the process of the vote tabulation, I believe we can do a much better job. What I would do is I would purchase a new vote tabulation machine that can actually count the ballots. The machine we have now is extremely sensitive, and you can't feed a ballot through it if it has a tiny tear or bend or crease or anything of that nature. So getting a new tabulation machine is at the utmost importance for our department to speed that up, as well as I would reach out to the newspapers, the radios, and the colleges. We have to, as a department, become more friendly with the public and communicate with the residents of Mendocino County. Between that and the communication, I believe we can get more volunteers to come and be willing to work not only at the polls but in our office to help us count those vote by mail ballots. Thank you.
So this seems to be a big issue with folks, and as we've all said here, we're becoming an all mail-in county, and there's a lot of hands-on to this process, and I think simply it would just require including more people in the processing of the ballots and the counting. And I've argued that the assessor's office has a large staff. They're paid, committed employees. And I don't see any issue with pulling them off their responsibility for a week or two in these election cycles to get these ballots done and processed. A lot of people are turning their ballots in the day of the election, and that's the holdup. I don't see anything wrong with declaring to the public what kind of progress we're making. We're not going to sit there and tally and tell you what the vote is, but I think surely we can report to you the progress we're making. We've had 15,000 absentee ballots, and a week after the election, we've got half of those processed and counted. And let the public know the progress we're making.
Thank you. Our next question, what do you feel is the biggest challenge facing the Assessor Clerk Recorder's office today, or challenges, and how would you address this or these? Let us start with Jeanette, followed by Katrina, and then Dirk.
The first thing that is really important for the public to know is that our department combined has 26 employees. 19 of those 26 employees work in the assessor's department. So that's a really important department not to have a department head. Currently, we have no assistant assessor. The position for assistant assessor, the funding has been lost because the current administration has not decided to fill that position for whatever reason. I believe that is a position that we dearly need to fill. It's going to take some work going to the Board of Supervisors and getting funding back for that position. So you can imagine it's going to be really important for whoever takes over this department to have extreme knowledge in the assessor's office. Thank you.
Thank you.
So some of the challenges that we have are definitely getting the results out for the vote, and we need to really improve on that. The assessor's office also needs some help. They need to be able to, we need to be able to redefine their duties and who does what, and just get it to streamline and flow a whole lot better. We're shorthanded, and we need to have people, we need to be able to hire people that will stay with us. So, and I think that every county department faces this. We need to be able to pay our people so they don't go someplace else within the county for a couple dollars more an hour. So there are some challenges. I have some great ideas. I'd be glad to answer questions later, but I need to probably stop and smile in a couple seconds.
So the challenge with elections is that I think, again, as I said earlier, we're moving to an all-male vote system, and Secretary of State's really pushing this. So, that's going to be a cost to counties. That's going to be a big challenge. How are we going to make that transition? From an assessor standpoint, as they mentioned, we are short-staffed, but a big challenge for us is generating the revenue, and part of that is getting out there and picking all this stuff up out there that is not being taxed and assessed. And my biggest point is that you got to be fair and equal with everybody, and that includes getting out there and doing the job to canvass these areas, to pick up these structures and non-permitted buildings that are out there. I think there's a lot of potential revenue, that could be obtained by the county, and staffing is required to do that. Is that it? Stop and smile?
Thank you.
But I think someone needs to approach the board and fight for the department, and that's what I propose to do.
So with the time that we have allotted, we only have time for a closing statement from each of the candidates, a minute and a half closing statement. And we'll start with Dirk, followed by Jeanette, and lastly, Katrina.
Okay, as an introduction, I didn't get to finish mine, but I hate talking about myself. It's just so uncomfortable. But, for me, much of what I said earlier, the department is responsible for providing multiple services to the citizens of this county. And some argue that the offices should have never been combined, clerk, recorder, assessor. And I think we can all agree that our election process needs improvement, and I think improvements are being made with each election cycle. Preserving our public documents and providing good, convenient access to the public is important. And I think through our micrographic problem, we'll continue that. Weekly, year in and year out, though, the assessor division provides the revenue that helps make this county go. When the rubber hits the road, I believe the individual running the department should have strong leadership and background in this area and aware of our changing economic landscape. I have that background, a 4-year university degree, the experience and knowledge required to successfully lead the department. I have a good working relationship with the other county agencies, a good relationship with current department staff, which I believe is key to providing good public service. I am endorsed by many individuals from across the county, both private and professional. I have endorsements from the mayor of Fort Bragg, the mayor of Ukiah, and I'm endorsed by the North Bay Realtors Association. I humbly ask for your support and vote on June 5th, and thanks again for coming.
Hello again, my name is Jeanette Kropman. I'm running for Mendocino County Assessor Clerk Recorder. I'm going to also finish where I left off on my opening statement since it was cut short, as well as the other things I spoke about. As soon as our girls were old enough to start wanting to play soccer, I volunteered with the Ukiah Valley Youth Soccer League as a coach for 15 years. I also volunteered on several committees for the Ukiah Valley School District, for events and fundraisers for educational purposes, and I am currently the secretary of the Brook Trails Golf Club. As a native of Mendocino County, I recognize this is a great place, getting emotional too, to live and work. I am committed to doing right by others through community service and maintaining the trust of Mendocino County residents and my peers. During my tenure, I have worked under several different department heads and managerial staff for which I have great respect and admiration. There was a time when the Mendocino County Assessor Clerk Recorder's Office was held in high regard throughout the Mendocino County. It is my goal, if elected, to renew the Mendocino County Assessor Clerk Recorder's Office to its respectable place in and throughout the communities within Mendocino County. Again, I want to thank you all for coming. My name is Jeanette Kropman, and I'm running for Mendocino County Assessor Clerk Recorder.
Hi, I'm Katrina Bartlemy, and I'm running for Assessor Clerk Recorder. I have experience in preparing and maintaining budgets, accounting, bookkeeping, and payroll, business administration and management, human resources, risk management, leadership and supervisory skills, contracts and negotiations. I've worked in the private sector and I've worked in the nonprofit world as well as within the county. I believe there is a lot of undiscovered revenue out there, and I think that needs to take a high priority when I'm elected. I'm being endorsed by the Mendocino County Farm Bureau, North Coast Builders Exchange, North Bay Association of Realtors, Mendocino County Democratic Central Committee, the Mendocino Inland Democratic Club, and many individuals throughout the county. I ask for your support and your vote on June 5th. Thank you all for coming. I'm Katrina Bartlemy, and I'm running for Assessor Clerk Recorder. Thank you.